Does it really taste like the Chick-fil-A sauce or not? Hey y'all, I'm Mandy, and this is Mandy in the Making. Sauces for dipping can get so expensive, and if you're buying an entire thing of it and you may not need to use all of it, sometimes it just goes bad before you can use it all. It just clutters up your refrigerator. So today we're going to make sauces. We're gonna do at least one knockoff sauce of a very popular sauce, but we're gonna try some different sauce recipes here at home. That way you can just tailor it and make it for cheaper and make the amount that you need so it doesn't go bad. We're gonna get started with our copycat recipe, and it is a copycat recipe of the very popular Chick-fil-A sauce. We'll be doing a taste test later and we will compare the two side by side to see what we think. Let's get started. Okay, I'm using the very last little bit of our Duke's mayonnaise. I have a fresh one over there ready to go, but I am cutting the recipe that I found for this in half just because we buy the Chick-fil-A sauce, so I already have enough on hand. But if we like this version of it, then I know I can just make it from now on and I don't have to buy it. I'm doing about 1/3 cup of mayo. I need 2 tablespoons of Dijon mustard, 1 tablespoon of yellow mustard. We're gonna do about 1.5 tablespoons of barbecue sauce. I'm just using what I have on hand. It didn't say any particular kind. This is the Sweet Baby Ray's hickory and brown sugar. We also need a couple of tablespoons of honey. This is just a local honey that I have. And then we need about 1 teaspoon of lemon juice. So I'm just gonna eyeball this. And it says a pinch of paprika. So I have my little shaker cap on here. I'm just gonna add, there we go, a couple of shakes. And we just whisk this together. This is a 2-cup measure bowl, just so you, in case you're wondering. Okay, it definitely looks very similar to the Chick-fil-A sauce. Should I wait and just be surprised, or should I taste it now? Okay, I'm gonna taste it now just so y'all know. I mean, I could tell y'all I'm not, but I am. I'm just gonna lick the whisk. I'll be back. It tastes more barbecue-y, is that a term, than the Chick-fil-A sauce. So I'm gonna tone it down with another spoonful of mayonnaise, just to see if that'll tone it down some. And then I licked my whisk, so grab another whisk. Let's see if that'll tone it down just a tad. Let's put a lid on this, put it in the fridge, and we will taste this a little bit later, and let's make our second sauce. Our second recipe that we're making is a newer recipe to me, but recently I've been seeing it everywhere. I don't live in Alabama, so I wouldn't really know about this, but it is called Alabama white sauce. We made it here off camera a couple weeks ago, and it was so good. I'm gonna try a different recipe this time though. I think this one is a little bit closer to a traditional Alabama white sauce. All you Alabama folks, y'all gonna have to tell me if there's a different recipe that you use to make this. And what is it for? Alabama white sauce, from what I can tell, I think it's mostly found at barbecue joints. Is that right? You put it on your barbecue? Y'all can educate me in the comments below, but let's make Alabama white sauce. We are getting started with 1/2 cup of mayo. And I'm pretty sure I scaled this recipe back to, I can't remember, because I chose it a few days ago, so I don't remember, but I'm scaling this back so I don't make too much. Let me zoom y'all in. There we go. I've got my teeny tiny measuring cup here. It only measures 1/4 cup, but that's what we need of apple cider vinegar. I love apple cider vinegar. It does say that you can use apple cider instead of the apple cider vinegar if you want to. That seems like a lot to me, but okay. We need 1/2 tablespoon of yellow mustard, 1/2 tablespoon of lemon juice. That was still the same lemon I had used with the last recipe, so I'm gonna add just a tad bit more. We need 1 teaspoon of horseradish, a little bit of salt and pepper. It says about let's see, 1/4 teaspoon of salt. So let's just add that in. And 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper. We need 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1/4 teaspoon of paprika, and 1/4 teaspoon of the Dub sauce. So like 1 shake, maybe 2 shakes. 1, 2, 3. Shh, don't tell anybody. Let's combine this together. This is very watery. I really feel like that was too much of the apple cider vinegar. Let's taste it. Hang on. Ooh, I really feel like that was the wrong amount for the apple cider vinegar. So, like with the last recipe, let's add in some more mayonnaise and see if that'll help tone it down. I don't know. This recipe might be a dud. I hope not. And it's personal preference too. And I don't live in Alabama, so I don't know if it's close to a traditional Alabama white sauce. This feels better. This consistency feels better. The other one was like water. Okay, let me get another spoon. Oh, that's much better. Don't use the amount of vinegar they tell you to. That's too much. Okay, this is going in the fridge. Time for sauce number 3. Okay, so I have a 5-year-old nephew named Hank. My parents normally pick him up. He goes to half-day kindergarten, but they were out of town, so I was picking him up from kindergarten each day. We're driving down the road and we're talking about various things, and he calls me Ma. That's just what both of my nephews call me. They call me Ma, and what do they call you?
Gunka.
Gunka. That has been our names for 13 years or so, ever since Brody, the older one, could start talking. Anyway, I said, Hank, do you know what Ma does as a job? He said, yeah. I said, what? He said, you cook. I said, you're right. I get paid to cook. You're right. I said, well, do you know what Gunka does for a job? He said, yeah. I said, what? He said, eat.
Oh man,
I was like, well,
them kids are gonna have a real, they're gonna have a real rude awakening in life when they think that they can just grow up and eat for a living.
You're not wrong, buddy. That's what Gunka
Might
does.
have to have a spiritual conversation with that young man. Now, son, don't grow up to be like you, Gunka.
But for those of you who don't know, he is a software
guy.
Engineer, developer.
I'm one of those IT guys that do mysterious things that nobody knows anything about and really don't really care as long as it's not harming anybody.
Well, as long as everything works.
And then it works, that's right.
But that's what he does as his job. His part-time gig is to come in here and taste all the yummy food that I'm making. But that's all Hank knew. He said, Gunka eats for a living. The third sauce, I'm pretty sure, is kind of like the Big Mac sauce. This is called Boom sauce. I'm not the biggest fan of Big Macs themselves, but I do love that sauce. I made a huge dent. I didn't realize it, but I think all of these are mayo based. But we have a half a cup of mayo here. I, again, tweaked this recipe. So this says to use 0.13 cup of ketchup. So, that's not even a third a cup of ketchup. We're just gonna eyeball this. We'll tweak it if I need to. I can always add more, right? We need a half a tablespoon of mustard, and I still have this half a tablespoon measure here that we used mustard with last time. We need a 1/4 teaspoon of onion powder. I'm actually gonna measure it. There we go. About 1/3 of a teaspoon of garlic powder. I need a little bit more. There we go. And about a half a teaspoon of paprika. Can I just open this little thing here? Yeah, no. Glad that didn't land in here. Let me do 2 of these. 1, 2. And a half a teaspoon of the Dub sauce. I'm actually measuring this time. Are y'all proud? Let's whisk this together. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna stir this one instead of whisking it, just because it's in this small container. I'm gonna run out of spoons. See if I need to add more ketchup. Yeah, I think it needs a little more ketchup. Okay. Not too long ago, I made a Big Mac sauce that went on a salad that we were making. The one for the salad had a little bit different ingredients. So I'll try and remember and leave that linked below. So you can try that one too if you want to. Okay, third sauce down. Let's make another one. Current state of my countertop. It's a mess. This next recipe is one that I love. I've never tried it at home, but every time I go to a Japanese steakhouse, it is my favorite sauce. Fun fact, at least where I'm from, the Spartanburg area of South Carolina, we don't call this yum yum sauce. When you go to the restaurant, you call it shrimp sauce. And before I liked ginger dressing on my salad at the Japanese steakhouse, I would always say, I want the shrimp sauce on my salad instead of the ginger dressing. Then I started hearing people say yum yum sauce. I was like, what in the world is yum yum sauce? It's shrimp sauce. So more recently, anytime we make chicken fried rice or anything like that at home, I've been purchasing yum yum sauce, and it's really good, but I would like to make it and see if it's just easier because we don't have it that often. So typically our big bottle of yum yum sauce will go bad before we can use it all. So let's attempt to make it here at the house. Something I found super interesting for this particular recipe is it calls for melted butter, but it says to melt the butter and then let it cool for a few minutes. So I'm gonna go to the microwave and melt the butter. We're starting out with, surprise, surprise, mayonnaise. I've got a ½ cup in here. Pretty sure, again, I have tailored this, or I cut down the recipe when I printed it out to a smaller amount. Now we're just gonna use a tablespoon of ketchup. We need that melted butter. What did I do with it? I'm gonna wait to add it. It's still a little warm. Let's see, we need a ½ teaspoon of sugar that I just spilled. Jeez Louise. Oh, nope. There, and I'll get the rest. Okay, I scraped the rest of it in there. Now we need ½ teaspoon of smoked paprika. Now for this recipe, you could either use rice vinegar. I have it on hand, so that's what I'm gonna use. But if you don't have that, you can always use apple cider vinegar. But since I have rice, we're gonna use 1 teaspoon of rice vinegar. We need a ½ teaspoon of garlic powder, a ¼ teaspoon of onion powder. It does say that you could add hot sauce in, like a dash of hot sauce. We're not gonna do that because I want this to be like traditional yum yum sauce. Or hopefully it's gonna be like that. Let's add in our melted butter, and we're just gonna whisk this around. It does say that you can add some water to thin it out if you need to, which I like mine to have a thinner consistency than this is giving. It does also say salt and pepper to taste, but I just wanna taste it and see what it tastes like right now. Oh. Yeah, that's giving the yum yum vibes, or the shrimp sauce vibes. Just a few drops of water just to try and thin it out. Just a tad. Now it does say that the flavors will meld together the longer you leave it, so I am leaving it in the refrigerator all afternoon. And you can refrigerate this and keep it in the fridge for about a week. Our final sauce recipe is one that we've made here in our house numerous times. I shared it on a video several years ago, and it was when we made the beer battered cod, which is still one of our favorite recipes. But the tartar sauce that I made with that, if you've never made at-home tartar sauce, let this be your sign that you need to make it at home. I have bought store-bought tartar sauce, and I've thrown it away because I don't like it. It's never as good as we prefer. Once I started making it myself, I've never gone back. So let me share that recipe with you now. We're gonna go back a few years. I'll share that with you, and then we'll come back and we'll do the taste test of all the different sauces. Tonight we're trying a brand new recipe to us. It's fish and chips with homemade tartar sauce. Let's get started. We're gonna get started on the tartar sauce first, so I'm gonna prep the ingredients for that. This is fresh dill. We only need about a tablespoon. I'm gonna chop this up now. We need about a cup of finely chopped dill pickles, so I'm gonna start chopping all of these up now. So let's mix all of our ingredients together for the tartar sauce. We've got 1 cup of dill pickles finely chopped. We need the juice of about half of a lemon. It calls for about a tablespoon of lemon juice. 1 teaspoon of sugar. 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, 1 cup of mayo, and lastly, our tablespoon or so of freshly chopped dill. We'll put the lid on this, stick it in the fridge until we're ready to eat.
Which one of these here sauces is the boss for this house?
Oh gosh,
okay.
Stop. Just stop.
Just stop.
First one we're gonna try is the Copycat Chick-fil-A sauce. You're gonna close your eyes,
okay,
and you're not gonna know which one's which, and you're gonna tell me which one you think is which.
Do they look similar?
Pretty similar, yes, okay. But I don't want you looking at it. All right. Let me show you, in case you can't tell. That's the one I made.
All right.
You can look.
I can look? Mm-hmm. Okay.
I've already dipped them both, like I tore a chicken tender in half.
We'll go with this one.
Okay.
Mmm. Good.
The moans and groans. Mmm.
Mmm. Good. They both taste almost exactly the same. There is just a very minute difference.
What's the difference?
In the second one.
Okay.
There's just a tiny touch of a vinegar flavor. The rest of it is the same. That was the only contrast. So it is.
Do you think, which one do you think is the
and
one
that's
I
like
made?
being ultra critical.
Which one do you think I made?
The second one?
Yeah.
You made the second one?
Yeah.
Okay. But they're very, very, very close.
Okay, well, I want to try.
Close.
I can tell a difference.
It's that sweet, little bit of vinegary flavor.
I feel like the original Chick-fil-A sauce is a tad sweeter.
Just a little tad sweeter, yeah. Just
and the one I made is a little tangier.
A little tangier. I would agree with that.
And quite honestly, I kind of like the tang. It reminds me of the honey roasted barbecue sauce from Chick-fil-A.
It does.
Which, if you've never had that, try that. It's very similar to the Chick-fil-A sauce, but it's a little more on the vinegary side. Ooh, I wonder if we have the honey roast. Hold on.
If you serve that, I wouldn't know the difference.
We do.
I'd just be like,
Look.
What? Honey roasted barbecue. Look at that.
Let's test it against that.
This has got a little bit more of a roasted sort of flavor to it. It's got a little more. How do you like them adjectives? Stephen, thesauruses of adjectives.
I feel like the one that I made is in between the Chick-fil-A sauce and the honey roasted barbecue sauce. Do I feel like it's worth it to pay the price that you have to pay to get this? No. I think you can just make it yourself and it's very, very close.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. Next, this is called the boom sauce.
Uh-oh. We're going to put that to the test. Yeah, that's got the boom in there. Definitely got some tang for sure. But then there's something on the back end that's got a richer flavor to it. It's almost like a...
Oh, we can try the fries in it too.
Almost like a ranchy flavor. Or a cream. It's got like a citrusy flavor to it.
It does have lemon juice in it. I don't think this tastes like the Big Mac sauce. I think the Big Mac sauce that we made for our salads more recently tasted more like that. This doesn't taste like the Big Mac sauce.
No, that's not Big Mac.
But it's good.
It's good, yeah.
It's a really good dipping sauce. Try frying it. Stop eating all the chicken.
I mean, I'd like to try that on a burger. Maybe on some sliders or something.
The last sauce is the Alabama white sauce. I have my doubts on this.
Here we go.
One. I read the reviews of this one and everybody says it's so good. I have my doubts.
All right, let's get some Alabama up in here. We're going to use
now this is usually on like pulled pork. Just so you know.
Okay. Alabamans put it on pulled pork.
Pulled fork. It's stout.
Okay.
Okay.
You had to wait for a second to tell me that. Wait. Come on.
Don't load up your chicken with it. That's what I'm saying. Go light.
Okay.
Don't.
Is that too much?
No, that's probably good.
Okay. We ought to name that the boom sauce. We'll call this one the Bam sauce. My goodness.
Oh, Bam sauce for Alabama.
All right.
We got Boom and Bam. Boom was like getting you warmed up for the Bam.
I don't know what's going on in this thing.
It's good. It's just very stout.
The apple cider vinegar really does add an interesting little touch to it.
Which is why it would be good on pork.
Yeah.
You know, like I love vinegar-based barbecue sauces. So
I can see that. Definitely like to try that on pork though to see how it makes a difference.
I mean,
I can see where the smokiness of barbecue flavor mixed with that would be very interesting.
I think my favorite is the Chick-fil-A Copycat.
Yeah.
But I really do like the Bam sauce.
They're all very interesting for sure.
We're gonna name this the Bam sauce. Just Bam, because it's in your face. It is in your face.
It is definitely the Bama sauce.
It's good.
Some of that rolled Tide sauce.
Go Tigers. We love the boom sauce. We're gonna make that for burgers. I think it would be really good on burgers.
The boom sauce.
Yeah. Now the Bam sauce.
The Bam sauce.
He can't get enough of it now. Once he got over his initial shock of how stout it is, he's like, this is so good.
Yeah, it is really good.
And then the Copycat Chick-fil-A sauce is excellent.
It is really good. You need to try it.
It is so good.
It's worth it.
I mean, I made all this, which, I mean, that's a good portion for probably, I don't even know. I don't have the breakdown of the cost, but it was way cheaper than buying the name
look
brand.
at this. You could just throw some, you can serve all these different sauces. I love it. I love trying different things.
Yeah.
Like get-togethers or something like that. Pop a few sauces out there. Throw some nuggies in the air fryer. What?
Some nuggies.
I'm serious.
Chicken nugs.
Put some tenders in there, some chicken nugs. We don't care if they come from the freezer or not, do we? Just throw them in the air fryer, make you some sauces. Hey.
Y'all, it is the next day, and I completely forgot that we didn't test out the yum yum sauce. We were planning on doing it last night, and then we got sidetracked and we didn't do it. So let's test out the yum yum sauce. It's been sitting for 24 hours now. Ideally, I would have some chicken fried rice made, but that's just not happening right now. So it's smokier, which it did have something in there. What was it? Was it smoked paprika? It is very similar. So if you don't want to have to buy the yum yum sauce and you're making an Asian dish and you want this is a good recipe. I might like it better than the stuff that you buy from the store because it does have that smokier, deeper flavor to it. So that's delicious.